Hi, I'm Sam with BatchStovez, and today I want to redo a dry baking video I did using the 12cm dry baking combo. And I'm going to bake some Jiffy corn muffins. The reason I want to redo this video is the first time I did the video, I put some Crisco type cooking oil inside the dry baking dish. This time I just want to do it completely dry and without any kind of cooking spray or any kind of oil whatsoever. Like I said, I'm going to be using the 12cm cook pot. I'm going to use a ring. This is just made out of oven liner. I just cut a 1.5 inch strip, folded it in half and tucked it in itself and just made a little circle. Works real well. I've been using it for several dry baking videos. We're going to be using the BatchStovez BR1. This is a new wick, remote fueled wick alcohol type stove. This is my first stove that I've made. It has legs that fold in so you can fold it up and they kind of lock in place. I developed this stove primarily for dry baking. It boils water. It boils 2 cups of water in the 9.5 minute range, which is not lightning fast, but it is pretty fast for a wick alcohol stove. I'm going to be using the adjustable remote feeder. Now the difference between this feeder is it adjusts, which anyone that's used these types of stoves knows. It can be difficult to get the fuel flow just right, and with the adjustable remote feeder you can kind of adjust that and get it just the way you want. So here is our Jiffy corn muffin mix. It's been sitting for a few minutes, so it's kind of aerated, and I'm going to just put this right into the dish. And this is not a full box. This is about half of that box of mix. So you could probably fit a whole box in there. As you can see, it doesn't quite go halfway. So you could probably get a whole box in there. I'm just doing half the box. We're going to be using Crown denatured alcohol. I like heat mostly, but my second choice is the Crown denatured alcohol. It's not quite as clean burning as the heat, but it does do a real good job and it works really well. This is a 50% methanol and 50% ethanol mixed, and it works really well. So let's get the stove going, and we can put our dry baking dish inside the 12cm cook pot. And as you can see, there's about a good ½ inch or so. And you can see what kind of gap. There's a good ½ inch all the way around the dry baking dish. So this works really well for dry baking. And we can start a timer here. We'll use a windscreen. And the windscreen, I like using the windscreen for a couple reasons. One, you can kind of control the heat inside the stove. If you think the temperature needs to be a little bit higher, of course you could add more fuel, but you can also just kind of close this and conserve on the fuel, and that will hold the heat, a little more heat inside. And likewise, if you think it's a little too hot, you can just kind of open it up. So we're at the 3-minute mark now, and we'll come back and check on it. Probably 10 minutes, 10-minute mark, we'll come and check on it. Okay, so we're coming up on the 10-minute mark. It is 10 minutes 15 seconds. As you can see, we're everything's going good. It's starting to rise. Let me show you. It's starting to rise, but you can, I don't know if you can tell, but it's still wet in the middle. It's doing real well. Okay, we're on the 20-minute mark now, and let's check and see what we look like. You can see what our flame's doing under there, and I want to show you that see if we can see a bubble. You get a bubble about every other second. There's one. There's one. And that's with it all the way down. And this is fairly level bench here, so. But that gives you a good temperature. If you wanted to do some boiling, you could raise it up a little bit more and get a little bit more fuel feed and get the temperature on the stove a little hotter. But I want to check the. Oh, you can see it's risen almost to the top of the dry baking dish. It's still kind of soft, so it's not quite done. I don't know if you've noticed, but I use a silicone hose for the handle. That way I can pick it up. But the nice thing is it's got a built-in vent because of the hole. And also have the silicone fuel line on the wire loop handle. That's the nice thing about this stove and the adjustable remote. You can, it gives you a little bit of flexibility. So I'll say we got about probably 5 more minutes on this of cook time, somewhere in that range. So we'll come back and check it in about 5 minutes and see where we're at. Okay, it's nice to have some baked goods when you're out on the trail, but you really have to be patient with dry baking because it does take a little bit longer than it does at home. But you know, 25 minutes or so is not a long time to wait for some nice warm cornbread or a blueberry muffin or even a nice warm biscuit. So let's check back in a few minutes and we'll see what we have. Okay, so we're right at 27 minutes here. Let's give it a check, see where we're at. You see steam. Okay, now it's firm on the top. And I can't tell how golden brown the sides are, but we're probably pretty good. Let's do a temperature check just to give you an idea what the internal temp is of the muffin right here. You can see, I don't know if you can see, but it's at 200, 199, 203. We're right at 208 degrees internal temp of the muffin. I mean, corn muffin. And it comes out clean. I think we're already at 20, we're at 29 minutes. I think I'll let it just go ahead and go to about 30 minutes. And then we'll see where we're at. We'll take it off, blow it out, blow the stove out. We'll let it cool down. You can kind of see what the flame pattern's doing. And you can see our remote feed. It gets a bubble about every other second. And we do have some wind, like I said before. Okay, we're right at 30 minutes, so I'm pretty comfortable with that. We'll go ahead and take it off. Blow the stove out. Now the great thing about this carbon felt windscreen is you can also use it to pick up hot stuff and put hot stuff, set the hot stuff on it. So let's let this cool off. I'm going to let it cool down a minute, and then I'm going to take it out of the 12 centimeter cook pot and let it cool off some more. For the past videos, I've been letting them cool off till the internal temperature is around 150, 155 degrees. If you try to take it out of the baking dish right away, my experience, cornbread will just break apart. It doesn't stick to the pot, but it doesn't hold together as one solid piece, and it'll just break, flake off and break apart. So you don't want that to happen. So you got to be patient, and you got to give it time to cool off. So we'll do that. We'll let it cool off. Unfortunately, there's no handle on the dry baking dish, but most people carry a Leatherman or something when they're out, and you can always tip it up onto the carbon felt and pull it out that way. But as you can see, looks really well. It's nice and firm, and it's hard to tell. I think it's brown on the edges, so should be nice. Should be nice. So let's give it a few minutes and let it cool off, and then we'll check back. Okay, so we pulled it out. We've let it cool, and as you can see, our internal temp is around 154 degrees, and this is usually around 156. This is usually around where it's cool enough that you can pull it, you can get it to come out cleanly on the out of the dry baking dish. Our timer, it's been, I forgot when we took it off, around the 33-minute range or something. I don't remember, but we can look at the video and see. But we're at right around 40 now. It's still warm, really warm, but you can hold it and pick it up, and you can, hopefully it'll come right out. And it does. And as you can see, this was without any kind of cooking oil or cooking spray, and it's nice and golden brown. Ooh, hot. It's nice and golden brown, and it looks real well. This residue that's left in the pot, just like with the muffins and everything else I've baked, it will wipe right out, and you can move on to your next baking item. And of course, if you have some water, that makes it even a little bit better. So that's the 10 centimeter dry baking dish along with the 12 centimeter cook pot. Making some Jiffy corn muffins, and looks pretty good. And you can see that it's golden brown, and it came out of the pan really well. Now what happens is, when you let it cool off, the whatever you're baking constricts a little bit, and that helps release from the pan. And as you can see, it's nice and firm inside. Probably cooked it longer than I needed to, but it's golden brown. I mean, it's a good color, but I probably could have stopped it a little bit earlier if I wanted to. But you know, in around the 30-minute range, you should be good. And so that's the retest on the Jiffy corn muffin mix to see if you really have to have any kind of oil. Now I want to point out that of course on the box it tells you to preheat your oven and grease your muffin pan or use some type of baking paper. That's why originally I used some grease, because when I make cornbread at home I always grease up the pan before I make corn muffins, biscuits too. So you might not have the flavor of the oil in there, but you definitely can eat it and it'll come out very nice. So I'm Sam at Batch Stoves. I really appreciate you watching the videos. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Stop by our website at www.BatchStovez.com. Stop by and check out the dry baking combo, the new BatchStovez remote stove, and the adjustable remote feeder. Thanks for watching.